It is a little tricky to create a tribute banner for someone who is alive and well and kicking some of her most creative years. However, this tribute banner is for my friend Meg. Hi, I'm Becky Brune, and this is my tribute banner series. Meg knits socks. She sews her own clothes. She weaves. She goes out into the fields and meets the sheep and makes things out of their wool. Through her business, she dyed yarn and sold it out. She is a master gardener and a writer, and she's gone back to school for an art degree. Basically, she's inspiring, bordering on intimidating. When I was planning Meg's tribute banner, I knew I wanted to use red and black to honor her business, which had been called Ladybug Fiber. But I also wanted plants and flowers to honor the gardener. And Meg is a bright color person. I should just say Meg is a bright color, and it had to fit on a 7x7 square. I decided to use a technique that would allow for all of that, a technique I have never used before called English paper piecing. I started by printing a hexagon pattern onto cardstock, and then I went through my fabric and cut out little fabric details. And then I basted those little pieces of fabric onto the hexagons. And then I hand sewed all of those little hexagons together. One of my goals was to not see the stitches on the front, and I did okay. Once they were all sewn together, I took out the basting and removed the pieces of paper. At this point, you would usually quilt this. You would put batting in and a backing fabric and quilt it. But I really did not want to interfere with or minimize those little fabric details with stitches. So I decided to skip the batting, and I attached the backing fabric to the front by stitching around the edge. This purple fabric is my favorite fabric so far. To me, it is the visual equivalent of eating ice cream. And here is Meg's finished banner. Let me make sure it's the right way up. This is Meg's finished banner. I love the little details and the colors. English paper piecing is an intense technique, and I cannot imagine making an entire quilt out of this. Thank you, Meg, for inspiring this mighty little project with your creativity. And thank you for being here. I will see you in my next tribute banner video. Bye.